Welcome everybody. I am James Krasnerick here live on Spreaker Web Radio with another live podcast of Real Steel Sports. And I, for one, hope that everybody had a great Thanksgiving and they had a great time with their families and ate so much damn food you damn near exploded, just like me. I don't know about you guys, but we actually had a turkey and a chicken. I had like a whole bowl of stuffing, two bowls of mashed potatoes, two plates full of turkey and chicken and stuffing. Literally thought that I was going to explode. But hey, the couch is 10 feet away, and that's kind of where I parked it for the rest of the night. Anyways, if the volume sounds a little bit lower on your feed, then that's probably because of the fact I had to recalibrate the microphone on my laptop. So now the quality is a little bit better at the cost of the volume being a little bit lower. But sorry about that. I had to unplug my computer mouse for something. Anyways, this segment is probably a segment that a lot of you are probably surprised to see. And, of course, today I'm going to talk about, or should I say tonight, because it's about quarter to 10 here, back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm going to talk about the Robert Griffin III's demise. And I want to talk about it in a sense of his timeline of events and also what happened and why I think he's gone downhill. So, to begin with, what I want everybody to take into account is RG3's rookie year. Because people seem to forget that his rookie year, he was extremely good. I'm actually loading up his numbers right now. And his rookie year in the NFL, he completed over 65% of his passes for 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He had the lowest interception rate of anybody in the NFL. And his QB rating was 102.4. And actually, if you look at if you compare it to other quarterbacks that year, if I can actually find the statistic for it, RG3 had the third highest passer rating in the National Football League, behind only Peyton Manning, who threw for 37 touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers, who threw for 39 himself. So RG3 has had a very, very solid NFL rookie year. People thought, well, that he was going to go ahead and, move on to bigger and better things, become this all-star player that the Redskins gave up so much to get. But his second year, again, he comes back later in the year due to his injury, and he's not as effective. He completes less than 61% of his passes. His touchdown total drops by 4 to 16. His interception total jumps by 7 to 12. His pass rating drops almost over a full 20 points. And then this year, his pass rating's actually been better, and his completion percentage has been very good, and his yards per attempt has been high. He just hasn't been throwing touchdowns. That's the difference. If RG3 had 12 touchdowns and not 2, people would say that it's been a renaissance for him. But I want to talk about the number one reason why his career timeline. Because everybody remembers what happened at Baylor. Everybody remember how he won the Heisman, had this just incredible last year at the University of Baylor. I mean, his numbers were astounding. I mean, beating out guys like Andrew Luck for the Heisman. I mean, that's one of the best seasons a quarterback ever had. He threw 37 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He completed over 72% of his passes for 10 yards a pass. Attempt. Not completion, attempt. However, his year before, actually it was 2009, which was his sophomore year, he was on his way to another great year until he tore his ACL. Well, in Washington, he tore his ACL again. That would be in the playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks. And actually, it was, I believe, if I can find the link here. Wrong button. I believe it was the game towards the middle to the end of the regular season that Robert Griffin III played against the Baltimore Ravens. It was actually the fourth to last game of the season. It was a week 14. And they ended up beating the Ravens 31-28. But in that game, what ultimately happened was he tore up his knee after he got hit by a Lodinata. Kirk Cousins came in, relieved him, and ended up winning the game. the Redskins would end up winning their last 7 games that year to win their first NFC East title, I believe, since 1999. But that is where the problem began right there. Because prior to that game, he'd been extremely healthy that whole season. He'd been fine. No injury problems, no nothing. But then you factor in what happened with his injuries, and you just look at it and say, man, I don't know what the hell happened. And here's what I think did happen. I think he did more damage to his knee against the Baltimore Ravens than the press let on, or that he and the coaching staff let on to the press. I really do. I don't think that he did as much damage to his knee as he said he did. I really don't. Because he did more damage to his knee than he said he did. And the reason why is this. You don't want to give your opponent any reason to go after your knees. If you got them believing the knee's fine and you can't go for it, that'll make them pretend that you're just playing your best. And that'll take the pressure off. But his lack of mobility in the final few games of the regular season, in the final 2 games of the regular season at which he played, pardon me, I have to plug my mouse, which includes the games at Philadelphia and at home against Dallas. He only ran for 4 yards on 2 carries against the Eagles. And aside from a 17-yard scamper against the Cowboys, he was largely, held in check. And even during the game, he didn't quite seem like he was 100%. But then the game came against the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs. Seattle would beat the Redskins 24-14 after getting down 2 touchdowns that kind of shut them down the rest of the way. RG3, again, his mobility hampered. 5 carries for 21 yards and no carry longer than 9 yards. Honestly, Mike Shanahan, when you stop and think about it, is the reason why RG3 today has been set so far back as he has. Here's why. When a rookie quarterback plays his first year, it's big for him. But that offseason, he grows. He's either going to go backwards, have a sophomore slump, or he's going to excel into his next year and do better. Guys like Peyton Manning went from more picks than touchdowns his rookie year to being plus 15, 16 in touchdown passes his second year. Ben Roethlisberger was better his second year. Guys like Tom Brady, their second year starting, was better than his first year starting. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks in NFL history were better after their second year, after they completed their first year into their second. RG3's knee injury, I think, was the biggest reason as to why he didn't succeed as much as the other quarterbacks in his class have. I mean, you look at what Russell Wilson's doing, and you look at what guys like Ryan Tannehill are doing. And, of course, Andrew Luck. And you can see the success and the yardage and touchdowns that they're accumulating, and they're making Robert RG3's totals look almost pedestrian. The point is this. When RG3 hurt his knee against the Baltimore Ravens, Mike Shanahan should have shut him down for the rest of the year. And here's my reason as to why. Yes, I understand they're in the thick of an NFC playoff race. But to be honest, Dallas defense look at the last 3 opponents that they had to play that year. Mike Shanahan made the worst decision of his coaching career continuing to play Robert Griffin III. Here's why. The Browns that year were giving up 23 points a game and had one of the worst passing defenses in the league. Kirk Cousins, of course, diced them up, as expected. The Philadelphia Eagles had the 29th worst points defense in the NFL, had given up 33 passing touchdowns and only recorded 8 interceptions. They were an absolutely god-awful team. Look at the 2012 Cowboys. That passing defense was terrible too. Gave up 22 passing touchdowns and recorded 7 interceptions, tied for second worst in the league. And you look at how many teams just went up and down the field on them in the passing game. The New Orleans Saints went up and down the field on them. The Falcons, the Steelers, even though they won that game. I mean, think about it. Dallas, Philadelphia, and Cleveland are very winnable games. He came back in the game against Philadelphia, when in reality, Mike Shanahan should have shut him down for the rest of the year, because it's not that you take the loss to the Seattle Seahawks and say, oh, this or that, but the guy's a rookie. You gave up how many draft picks, how many first-round picks, how many potential players that could have been successful players, how many guys you gave up to get him. And you're going to make him play when he's injured. You're going to make the guy go out on the field when he clearly can't do it. I don't know how much spatter went on between RG3 and Mike Shanahan over playing or not and playing and whatnot. But I think that Mike Shanahan should have put his foot down after the Baltimore game and said, dude, we're shutting you down because we can't risk you in the future. Let's put it this way. This season may be scrapped, but if you look at the seasons afterwards, we got a good team. We got a good offense. We're up and coming. We can do this, but we need you healthy. That's the kind of message that I would have sent to RG3 if I was Mike Shanahan. Let him know that there's a bigger picture here than simply just winning the playoff game your rookie year. If you're not fit to play, you need to sit. And RG3's knee injury, I can tell, is a lot worse than what he let onto it. I mean, he did miss the game against Cleveland, but if you watch the replay of that hit against Nada, his knee got jerked back. Like if you're watching it when he got hit, his knee went up in the air and his leg just shot forward and his knee went out of place. That probably partially sprained the ligaments in his knee, and that made the game against the Seahawks that much more painful because a couple moves out of the way and he tears his knee up. Which ended up being what happened. Because Mike Shanahan didn't do RG3 any favors there. Because if Mike Shanahan would have planned this out and done it smart, he would have sat RG3. He would have made him wait till his second year to get back on the field. And I believe that growth and development phase would have benefited him so much because now look at it. He is worse than he was as a rookie. And I'll be honest, Washington's offense was not dumbed down for him. Yes, they ran the ball third most in the league and for the most yards. But if you look at it, they had RG3 out of a lot of games where he threw the football. Let's look at some of his games. His rookie game, his first game against the Saints, they throw for over 300 yards. You look at the game against the Buccaneers, which had to go down the field and win, over 320 yards. You look at the games against Dallas, against Washington, against the Giants. They had to throw for a lot of yards. If anything, quarterbacks may have good rookie years, but if you hurt after your rookie year and you're automatically behind because you're injured, what good does rushing back do you anything? You need to get healthy and you need to make sure you're okay. And I think that's the number one reason why RG3 is regressing as a quarterback. I mean, if you look at his QBR right now compared to the others, he's near the bottom of the league in quarterback and QBR. Just the way the guy has played his whole career, his legs have been his saving grace ever since he took over at Baylor and since he came to the Redskins. And now that he doesn't have his mobility as much as he used to, he's second-guessing himself. He knows that he can't make the plays necessary with his legs if he can't find an open receiver. And that's causing him to force throws that he shouldn't force. That's the reason why he's regressing. What I think RG3 should do is I think that he should study film of quarterbacks who don't necessarily rely on their movement per se, Mike Vick or Russell Wilson. But guys like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, I think RG3 should take some notes because he is a very similar player to Aaron Rodgers. Strong arms, highly accurate. RG3 should take notes because if you look at his receiving core right now and you look at the guys that he's been surrounded with on offense, I mean, it reads off like a Pro Bowl roster, practically. His left tackle's Trent Williams, who's an absolute mammoth of a human being. His wide receivers, I mean, Pierre Garçon, Deshaun Jackson, the talented young Andre Roberts, running back Alfred Morris, who's on pace for well over 1,000 yards again this year and already has 7 touchdowns. The team that he has in front of him is a team on offense that they could be able to score about 25 points a game. But RG3 mentally has regressed. And I believe that in Washington, his time as a starting quarterback is over. And I believe it for two reasons. Number one, they're not going to keep him. If you look at how much RG3 is going to fetch next year, it's astronomical. I'm trying to find the total right here because it's an extremely high total. During the 2015-16 season, RG3 has a $13 million signing bonus with $21 million guaranteed. Average salary of $5.5 million per year. When you add up all the incentives in the bonuses that he's going to be getting, it's going to be well over $10 million. Why in the hell would you do that to a starting quarterback, keep him if he can't play like he used to? That's another reason why I think he's going to be traded. I think that before the season's out, the Redskins are going to look for guys that they can trade for. And I believe the perfect two partners in this ordeal would be the St. Louis Rams and the New York Jets. I mean, if you actually look at the NFL right now and you think off the top of your head, I mean, going through the divisions, the Jets in the AFC East are definitely a sexy pick. There is a good chance they could make a trade maybe with the Cincinnati Bengals if Andy Dalton doesn't perform well in the playoffs again. Because all hints to the Bengals going to the playoffs. You look at the AFC South. I mean, they're pretty much set at quarterback with the exception of the Texans, unless Ryan Mallett starts to play well magically in the last few games. Oh, wait, he's injured. Sorry about that. He's not going to be able to. That wasn't meant to be an insult. That's just me forgetting he was injured. You look at the AFC West, all four teams are set at quarterback. I know the Raiders have been horrible this year, but Derek Carr has proven to be their guy for the future. You look at the NFC East, nobody there is going to take him. You look at the NFC North. I mean, the Vikings just drafted Bridgewater. The Bears and Cutler, if the Bears continue to suck, even though their defense has been a problem, their offense has been terrible too, with Cutler throwing interceptions willy-nilly. You look at the NFC South, maybe, possibly Tampa. That's a possibility. And, of course, you got the NFC West with the St. Louis Rams. So I'm looking at the Rams and I'm looking at the Jets right now as two teams that absolutely could make a trade for RG3. Mark my words, I think he's going to end up in St. Louis. I do. I think that they're going to make a trade for a high-round pick because it's kind of funny. Because the St. Louis Rams were the team that the Redskins traded with to get RG3. And I think he's going to end up playing for that team. It just took him a while. As for Sam Bradford, that means he will not come back to St. Louis. We have no idea where he's going to go. It's just unfortunate. That guy had too much promise and he just couldn't stay healthy. To no fault of his own either. Again, RG3's demise has been pretty sad. I mean, he hasn't carried himself like a true professional at times. He's been called out for it, even by his coaches, by the media, by experts and analysts. But at the same time, the guy wants to win, and the guy works his ass off to win. I mean, do I think that he is, worthy and potentially capable of getting back to form? I do believe it. I don't believe RG3 is broken completely. I just think that he would need a new change of scenery. That'd be huge. He needs an offensive-minded coach. Jay Gruden's an offensive-minded coach, but RG3 doesn't fit the Jay Gruden system. Let's not forget, Jay Gruden played in the Arena League for how many years as a quarterback and was a badass quarterback. Guys like Kirk Cousins, guys like Colt McCoy, who are more traditional pocket passers, fit his role. RG3's scampering ability, albeit hindered by his injuries, is not going to fit Jay Gruden's system. I think St. Louis would be a good fit because they've got some good up-and-coming talent down there. I mean, their defense is much better than Washington's. That's not even close. So I think that's a good pick. The Jets, I don't think that would happen because I think there's a clause in the player's contract where if the player does get traded, he has to accept the trade. I do not believe that RG3 would accept the trade to the New York Jets. And besides, there's really nothing other than draft picks and maybe Eric Decker that the Washington Redskins could potentially be interested in. And Decker signed with the Jets and not the Redskins for a reason. He wanted to play for the Jets. That because he wanted money, but still. Again, RG3's demise, in short, I attribute it to the fact that Mike Shanahan did not sit him when he should have. He did not hold RG3 down. He allowed him to continue playing. He should have gotten Robert's face, looked him right in the eye and said, "You are so close to blowing out your knee. We don't need you hurt in the future. Take this rest of the season off, get healthy again, and come back to us when you're ready to play." I don't care how insignificant his knee injury was. You don't wreck a guy's future to win a few games. And Mike Shanahan should have known that, being a veteran head coach who's won 2 Super Bowls and damn near been to a couple other ones. He should have known the difference. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have on that particular topic. I might do a segment a little later on tonight with Quaman's Land. Quaman's Land, of course, Qaaman. Look him up on YouTube. He is one of my close YouTube friends. He does various Dragon Ball Z discussions because we are all big fans of Dragon Ball Z. Me, him, and several of our close friends. So please be sure. He might join us because he is a damn good sports guy too. That guy knows his shit just as well as I do, if not maybe even better. So please be sure to check out his channel. Please be sure to tune in later. But until that, take care and have a good one, everybody.